aspects of this that everyone is familiar with, but only on the cursory level. The first part is the dehydration. Alcohol, when you consume it, actually sends a signal to the pineal gland that downregulates the production of vasopressin. that is an antidiuretic hormone, which means as soon as you start drinking alcohol, your body actually starts pulling fluids from all of your tissues and making it flow. That both dehydrates you from a pure water perspective and sucks out the electrolytes, and a little known bit, it actually goes and pulls added magnesium out of your tissues. And immediately your magnesium levels drop, and from chronic alcohol drinking, you get serious magnesium deficiencies. And when you're dehydrating those tissues, it leads to compression, the blood vessels shrink in your head, and it causes all sorts of pain leading to hangovers. Next is oxidation. Now, oxidation has a lot of components to it. We're going to first go to this next slide where we see how alcohol gets processed in the body. Alcohol gets broken down by something called alcohol dehydrogenase into a compound called acetaldehyde. This is a lot of science, but basically acetaldehyde is a toxic compound, between 10 and 30 times more toxic than ethanol itself. And then that gets broken down into acetate by another enzyme called acetaldehyde dehydrogenase. In both of these steps, it is using NAD, it is having an oxidative reaction that produces a lot of reactive oxygen species. Your body, in order to properly keep up with this, needs to make use of its primary antioxidants, vitamin C and glutathione, to keep up with all of this oxidative stress. If it doesn't, you get all sorts of issues as if your body literally drank poison, leading to other hangover symptoms. Is there a way to go back to the previous slide? Whatever. The third one is inflammation. Alcohol causes inflammation, and we all know inflammation is bad. Certain markers get elevated, C-reactive protein, insulin, all sorts of problems occur in the body. But there are ways of mitigating this. Step one, drink properly. Drink clear spirits that are naturally produced with a full stomach and know your limits. There have been a lot of studies looking at things called congeners. Those are the other byproducts of fermentation that come in certain types of alcohol. Darker colored alcohols, red wine, bourbon, whiskey of all forms, has all these congeners that they themselves are toxic. Drinking equal amounts of bourbon versus vodka, you are going to get far worse hangover symptoms with the bourbon. There are studies looking at both the blood alcohol concentration levels after these. Some, like the bourbon vodka, it's the same, but red wine versus beer, the red wine, it's actually lower blood alcohol concentration afterwards. Then when you get to the food, everyone knows drinking on a full stomach, yeah, it's better. But the blood alcohol concentration, when people have eaten versus not, is actually significantly changed. Eat first, and then knowing your limits, 1 gram per kilogram. A gram, for me, that comes out to around 60 grams. That is 4.5 drinks. More than that, you're getting into danger zone. Know your limits. But then we get to the good stuff. All these different pathways we discussed, the oxidative stress, the inflammation, we can take things to suppress that. Vitamin C is one of the main antioxidants. Glutathione, we discussed that. You're getting all this acetaldehyde, you're producing oxidative stress, your body needs enough glutathione to actually keep up with this. But taking glutathione by itself, it's not very bioavailable. It's hard to absorb. Instead, you take something called N-acetylcysteine. Take that, it bumps up that glutathione production in your body, and it will be night and day with how your body actually is able to compensate for all of that toxic exposure from the alcohol. We go down, the green tea, GGT is a marker of inflammation that gets drastically reduced by it. Also, green tea has L-theanine, which has an added impact on alcohol. Milk thistle, who knows what that even is, but you can get it. And it's actually, it's an herb, it's a fern, yeah, I actually have the raw powder, I've got the raw things, I will steep it in my own tea sometimes, but you get some of these things that are pretty weird. Korean pear juice, I tried to figure out if I could buy a Korean pear. It's hard. It's even actually hard to get the extract. But all of these, so B vitamins, B1, B2, B6, these all get depleted with the consumption of alcohol. They're also used in the glutathione recycling. Prickly pear has one of the greatest impacts in the clinical studies looking at how it affects hangover. Reduced by almost 50%, lowers blood alcohol concentration. Magnesium, we talked earlier, it gets depleted by the alcohol when you consume more when you're drinking, it lowers the impact. Red ginseng is a fun one. It both lowers your blood alcohol concentration after time, but also increases your acetaldehyde. We spoke earlier, acetaldehyde is bad for you. But what it seems to be doing is increasing your body's speed at metabolizing the alcohol. And as long as you're taking these other things alongside it, it greatly lowers your symptoms and improves your body's ability to react to it. There's a lot more, there's dosages, there's timings. I'm already over time, but basically when you are drinking alcohol, if you take all these things between 30 minutes to 2 hours before you start, the difference is night and day with whether or not you feel a hangover or you're ready to hit the gym after drinking. It's great. You can even get things online, composites, they put them all together and things for you if you don't want to do it yourself. It's a massive difference. So thank you, and I hope that your next drinking session over the holidays will be great.
I hope everyone got a picture of that. Thank you, Adisha.